Have you ever looked back at your life and thought, wow, I had so much energy in my 40s, but I feel like it's all fading now? I used to feel exactly that way. I remember thinking that getting older meant slowing down, letting go of passions, and quietly stepping aside while life passed by. But here's something I discovered as I stepped into my 70s. Life can actually feel richer, more fulfilling, and yes, even more enjoyable than it did in my 40s. And the secret isn't about having more money, more gadgets, or even more freedom. It's about adopting simple habits and perspectives that transform your daily experience. In this video, I want to share with you 5 simple things that have made my 70s better than my 40s. These are habits, mindsets, and little lifestyle shifts that brought me more energy, joy, and peace than I ever imagined. They are practical, easy to implement, and don't require you to change your life overnight. You can start small and gradually feel the difference. Let's start with the first shift that made a huge difference: choosing how I spend my time. In my 40s, life felt like a constant rush. Work, responsibilities, family obligations, it was all consuming. I didn't realize how much of my time was being dictated by other people's priorities rather than my own. As I moved into my 70s, I started making conscious choices about how I spent my days. I said no more often to things that drained me, and yes to things that brought joy, connection, or peace. This might sound simple, but it's transformative. When you actively choose how to spend your time, every day becomes a little more meaningful. Even small choices, like dedicating an hour to a hobby you love or walking in nature, can make your days feel fuller and more rewarding. The second thing I embraced was letting go of unnecessary worry and self-criticism. In my 40s, I often judged myself harshly for not achieving more, for making mistakes, or for not living up to expectations, mine or others. That constant mental pressure created stress and took away from the joy of everyday life. As I got older, I realized how liberating it is to let go of that burden. I started focusing on gratitude and self-compassion, recognizing that life is not a race and that small, everyday moments of happiness are what truly matter. I found that when I let go of harsh self-judgment, I felt lighter, more at peace, and even more energetic. Worrying less doesn't mean ignoring responsibilities. It means choosing where to focus your attention and giving yourself permission to enjoy life as it comes. The third change that had a big impact was cultivating genuine connections. In my 40s, friendships and relationships were often influenced by convenience, work, or obligation. I didn't always prioritize meaningful connections. But in my 70s, I realized that relationships are one of the most powerful sources of joy and fulfillment. I started reaching out more intentionally, investing in friendships that truly mattered, and spending quality time with loved ones. I also embraced the freedom to let go of relationships that were draining or toxic. The result? My days felt brighter, my laughter more frequent, and my sense of belonging stronger than ever. Deep, meaningful connections have a way of enriching life far beyond what any material achievement ever could. Now that we've explored choosing our time, releasing self-criticism, and cultivating meaningful connections, it's easy to see a pattern emerging. Life gets better when we focus on what really matters. But there are still a couple more habits that took my 70s to the next level. One of them involves something surprisingly simple yet profoundly impactful: moving your body in ways that feel good. In my 40s, I often exercised out of obligation or to achieve a specific goal, and I didn't always enjoy it. As I entered my 70s, I discovered the joy of movement purely for the pleasure of it. Walking in the park, gentle yoga, stretching in the morning, or dancing to a favorite song became ways to connect with my body, boost my mood, and energize my days. This shift from exercise as a chore to movement as a celebration of life has made an incredible difference in my overall well-being. And there's one more simple thing that transformed my 70s compared to my 40s, but I want to save that for the next part, because it ties together everything we've discussed so far and has a surprisingly profound impact. By focusing on time, mindset, relationships, and joyful movement, I've found that life in your 70s can feel richer, lighter, and even more vibrant than it did decades ago. So let's dive deeper into the remaining habits and the ways they can transform your life, making your 70s not just bearable, but truly enjoyable and fulfilling. and feel that these insights are meaningful. Please type number 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I warmly invite you to do so, and don't forget to turn on the bell, so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos designed to uplift, inform, and inspire. Your support truly means a lot. It's what keeps us going and allows us to continue sharing thoughtful, helpful content just for you. Now, let's continue this journey together. The next habit that made my 70s so much better than my 40s is embracing curiosity and learning. In my 40s, I often felt like I had to have it all figured out. I assumed that new experiences or learning something unfamiliar was risky or unnecessary. But as I stepped into my 70s, I realized that life is far more enjoyable when you stay curious. I started taking small classes online, reading about topics I never explored before, and even picking up a musical instrument just for fun. The joy of discovering something new, of challenging my brain in playful ways, brought a sense of excitement I hadn't felt in decades. Curiosity reminds you that life is still full of possibilities, and it keeps your mind sharp, your spirit engaged, and your days colorful. Another change I embraced was prioritizing rest and self-care without guilt. In my 40s, I often equated busy days with success. If I had a moment to rest, I felt guilty, as though I was wasting time. But aging taught me a powerful lesson: your energy, health, and happiness are built on how well you care for yourself. I learned to take naps when needed, slow down when my body told me to, and indulge in activities that replenished my mind and soul, whether it was reading, gardening, meditating, or simply sitting quietly with a cup of tea. Giving myself permission to rest wasn't laziness, it was a form of respect for my body and life experience. By doing this, I found that my energy and enjoyment throughout the day actually increased, and I was more present in every moment. The fourth habit that transformed my 70s is simplifying life and letting go of unnecessary clutter, both physical and mental. In my 40s, I held on to things because I might need them one day or because they were tied to memories. I also carried mental clutter, lingering resentments, worries about the future, and the pressure to keep up with everyone else. By my 70s, I realized that holding onto these things only drained my energy and stole my peace. I began decluttering my home, simplifying routines, and letting go of grudges or unrealistic expectations. Freeing up space physically and mentally made life feel lighter, more manageable, and more joyful. I could breathe easier, move more freely, and focus on what truly mattered. And that final habit I hinted at in the first part, the one that really ties everything together, is learning to savor the present moment. In my 40s, I was always thinking about the next goal, the next milestone, or the next task. Life was a constant forward march, and I missed so many moments of beauty along the way. Now, in my 70s, I make it a practice to notice the small things: the warmth of the sun on my face, the sound of birds in the morning, a shared laugh with a friend, or the simple pleasure of a well-made cup of coffee. This isn't about being perfect or achieving anything, it's about noticing and appreciating life as it unfolds. Savoring the present has brought a profound sense of contentment and joy that I never experienced in my 40s, no matter how busy or accomplished I was. What ties all of these habits together is a simple idea: life doesn't get better just because you age, it gets better when you intentionally live it with awareness, gratitude, and joy. Choosing how to spend your time, letting go of unnecessary stress, nurturing meaningful connections, moving your body for pleasure, staying curious, prioritizing rest, simplifying life, and savoring each moment. These are the things that make the 70s not just bearable, but vibrant and fulfilling. If you take even a few of these habits and incorporate them into your daily life, you'll notice a difference in your energy, mood, and overall enjoyment of life. It's never too late to start making these shifts, and the beauty is that small, consistent changes compound over time. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. Even tiny adjustments, like spending 5 extra minutes outside each day or taking a moment to truly appreciate a meal, can make life feel richer and more rewarding. Next, we'll dive into the final reflections and practical ways to bring all of these habits together so that your 70s, or any decade after 60, can truly become a time of joy, vitality, and fulfillment. As we move into the final part, I want to focus on how all these habits come together to create a life in your 70s that feels richer, calmer, and more fulfilling than you might have imagined. The beauty of these 5 simple things isn't that they are revolutionary, but that they are practical, adaptable, and deeply human. They work because they honor who we are at this stage of life, and they allow us to live intentionally rather than reactively. One of the most powerful takeaways from my journey is that freedom in your 70s isn't about having more things, it's about having more choice. When I started prioritizing how I spend my time, letting go of worry, nurturing meaningful relationships, moving for joy, and savoring the moment, I felt a sense of liberation I never experienced in my 40s. Each day became a series of intentional choices rather than a series of obligations. I could wake up and decide to spend the morning reading, walking, calling a friend, or simply enjoying the quiet. That freedom, the ability to structure your day according to your own priorities, brought a sense of control and satisfaction that money or status could never buy. Another realization that became central to my 70s is the importance of presence and mindfulness. In earlier decades, I was constantly thinking about the next goal, the next deadline, or the next responsibility. Life felt like a continuous checklist. But as I embraced these habits, I started noticing the small joys, the texture of leaves in the garden, the laughter of grandchildren, the taste of a home-cooked meal. I found that when I slowed down and truly immersed myself in the moment, life felt more vivid and rewarding. Presence isn't just about peace of mind, it's about fully experiencing the richness that each day offers. It's also worth mentioning the way these habits reinforce each other. Choosing your time carefully reduces stress, which improves your ability to be present. Moving your body gently boosts your mood, which makes relationships more enjoyable. Curiosity and learning keep your mind active, which enhances your energy and engagement in daily life. By combining these practices, I discovered a synergistic effect. The whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. Life felt more balanced, more joyful, and more in harmony with who I am. Of course, I won't pretend that every day is perfect. Aging brings challenges, and there are days when my body or mind resists my best intentions. But the habits I've built serve as anchors. They help me navigate difficult moments with grace and resilience. They remind me that even if the day isn't ideal, I still have the tools to create satisfaction, connection, and meaning. This mindset, accepting imperfection while cultivating intentional habits, has been transformative. I want to leave you with a message of encouragement. It's never too late to start. Even if you're just beginning to think about how to make your 60s, 70s, or beyond more enjoyable, small steps matter. Start with one habit, like prioritizing meaningful connections or spending 5 minutes a day appreciating the present moment. Add another habit gradually. Over time, these small changes compound, transforming not just your daily routine, but your entire experience of life. If you found inspiration in this video, I encourage you to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. What habits have brought joy, energy, or peace to your later years? What challenges have you overcome? By sharing, we create a community that learns from one another, proving that age is not a limitation but an opportunity. Finally, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more insights on living well after 60. Remember, life doesn't stop at 60, 70, or even 80. By embracing these 5 simple habits, choosing your time, letting go of unnecessary stress, nurturing meaningful relationships, moving your body with joy, and savoring the moment, you can create a life that is fuller, brighter, and more rewarding than you ever imagined. Here's to living your best life at any age, embracing each day with gratitude, curiosity, and a joyful heart.